recording, so whenever you're ready, your name and just tell us your story about how this whole debacle went down.
My name is Emily Fitzgerald, and I took a while to realize what was going on, but it all started when my son, who's now 4, he was sick. Not in any way that I had ever imagined a sickness, not like a sniffly nose or coughing. He had, it started primarily with sleep disruption and insomnia. And then eventually very restrictive eating, and continued to develop into more complex neurological issues where we were pretty concerned that he may be becoming autistic or something of that nature. So I started seeing a bunch of doctors and asking them for advice, and all of these things aren't necessarily connected or understood by most people in the conventional medicine world. And so we were eventually advised to have him take a urine test that would detect mycotoxins, because it was possible that he had mold toxicity, that these symptoms could all be a source of mold toxicity. And his test results were very disappointing. As a parent, I was really shocked to see that we...
There he is.
I'm sorry. Hi, buddy. You're gonna come say hi. Hi, buddy. Hi.
Where's Daddy?
I don't know. I don't know that he's coming here.
How did he get here?
My mom lives down the street. Is Lala outside?
No, Mimi's out there.
Oh, okay. Is Mimi with Charlotte?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
She's in the stroller.
Oh, did you walk? Did Lala come?
No?
No? Okay. All right. Well, can you go tell Mimi that I'm filming? And tell her to call Daddy. Okay? Because I don't know where he is.
Okay.
Okay. And hi. Okay, open the door. All right. I love you. I gotta finish filming so I can go home and cook dinner, okay?
Can I stay here?
I think you're gonna go with Mimi. Oh, look, and Lala's here. Okay?
Okay.
I know. Come on, Parker. Come on, go with Lala. I love you. I'll see you later.
Bye, guys. It's not bye. It's interesting.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
3, 2, 1. Whenever you're ready.
So we were advised to do a urine test to detect mycotoxins because it was possible that my son Parker might have mold toxicity. And we got his results back, and they were really elevated for multiple different mycotoxins that were all most likely from mold caused by water damage and water intrusion. So by this time, since I already had some good insight from practitioners that said that this is very likely the source of the problem, we had already started testing the house, and we had contacted a couple of different inspectors and scheduled testing for the home. And shortly after we received his mycotoxin test, we had ERMI results come back showing that the house had all the different mold species that aligned with the mycotoxins in Parker's mycotoxin results. So I had a very extensive inspector come out and do a literal, like, all the exterior floor to ceiling inspection. I think he was here for almost 8.5 or 9 hours trying to detect where the source of the mold was, to find it all. And after that we had some hurricanes in between there that caused multiple delays. But shortly after that, I had a friend who had worked with a local doctor in Fort Myers recommend that I call and see if he could recommend a reputable remediation company, because in the process of testing and inspecting, it was pretty apparent that most of the people I was calling to remedy my problem did not fully understand the risk of properly remediating, or they didn't understand how to properly remediate for a risk with someone who is sick with CIRS or other, neurological issues. So that's how I found CIRS remediation, restoration. I can say that again if you want me to
Just give me 1 second. We're gonna
go back and
whenever you're ready, that's when I found CIRS restoration.
And that is when I found CIRS restoration. And I called Anthony, and he was very helpful, immediately made me feel much better about the situation. And we started working from there. He took my inspector's report, and I worked with Michael to get an estimate. And they were always patient with all of my questions, and willing to explain things further to someone who is unfamiliar about, terminology and the process. And that was really reassuring, because it's not common, I don't think, in this industry. So it was a lovely experience. And then we got started, and the scope, of course, expanded as they worked on the house, but they were always great at communicating and keeping me in the loop on everything daily, and always wanting to do right by me and my family.
You did great.
Diagnosed biggest CIRS symptom is brain fog and difficulty finding words. So I definitely didn't expect to speak as, fluently as smoothly as I did. But when I get tripped up, that's the bane of my existence, because I wasn't always like that.
You should be on stage right in front of that thing. I'm terrible.
It's harder though. I can see how it's hard for you, because it's like your company and there's more. I'm just like, whatever. This is just my life. I've been complaining to 6 months.
Okay, we are rolling. Deep breath whenever you're ready. Your name, you're a patient.
My name is Emily Fitzgerald, and my son Parker and I are CIRS patients.
Let's try that one more time from the top.
Should I say we're diagnosed with CIRS, or that we?
Yeah, that is fine.
Yeah. Does that sound better?
Yeah, because I guess I like the.
Or we both?
Because patient kind of sounds like you're still sick and you're still going through like the worst of it, and we don't definitely want to convey that. So I like that. Deep breath whenever you're ready.
My name is Emily Fitzgerald, and both my son Parker and I have CIRS. We started this journey about 2 years ago, when my son started exhibiting symptoms that were very alarming to me. He was sick, but not in the type of sick I imagined a normal 2 or 2.5-year-old to be. He started having a lot of insomnia, and we chalked that up to him being a 2.5-year-old and, adjusting to sleep schedules. And then he started becoming a very picky eater, and was very restrictive with the food he would eat. And we chalked that up to him being a picky toddler. And then the symptoms got more severe and more alarming, with a lot of neurological and nonverbal episodes where he would just not act his normal self. So I went down the road of many different types of practitioners and doctors to try and figure out what was going on and really wanting to help him. And nobody really in the conventional world could give us answers. So we eventually saw some fabulous functional doctors and chiropractors that advised us to test him for mycotoxins with a urine test. And we got his mycotoxin results back, and they were very alarming. He had several different mycotoxins that were well above the safe level, if there's any safe level of mycotoxins, that were indicative of exposure to mold that is caused by water damage buildings. So as we learned that was possibly the cause of his sickness, we started testing the house, since he stays at home most of the time with family and is really only here. So we had some very extensive inspections done with a fabulous team that searched the house and, scoured all the possible places where we could have hidden mold in our home. And when we got our ERMI back, the mold that was present in the house almost perfectly aligned with the species of mycotoxins that were present on his urine test. So we knew at that time that we had to remediate the house because we live in a beautiful area where if we were to go anywhere else, we would have to test that house for mold and mycotoxins given our CIRS, status. And that is when I reached out to some friends and then was connected through a local doctor who specializes in CIRS and mold toxicity. That put me in touch with Anthony from CIRS Restoration. And he and his team were excellent, a breath of fresh air, really, compared to the other people that I was interviewing to potentially remediate the house. It's not easy to find a remediation team that gets it, that understands the proper containment and the risks that come with improper or just not containing things properly for our health and the integrity of our home going forward. So Anthony and Michael, they were really wonderful and walked me through the process and followed my inspector's protocol exactly. They worked really closely with them to make sure that everything was done properly and always kept me in the loop during the entire process. So it was a big relief to have him on my team and to have them I always felt like he would do right by me and my son and our family, because ultimately this is our safe space, and we will be able to move back in our home and live long, healthy lives because of the work that he did for us.
What did it take?
Um,
Let's not talk about that. No.
Well, I mean, honestly, it's an important part of the process. So we started, and I think initially we had thought maybe the job would take a week or 2 weeks to clean and complete. But their obviously scope expanded as walls are torn down, and you just find new things that you can't find until you open everything up. And so I think it ended up taking about 3 weeks or 3.5 weeks. And that was also not completely on Anthony, and we have to, had to schedule post testing, and a lot of that was up to their schedule and when they could fit us in. But they were very thorough, and I've had multiple people who have dealt with remediation companies in either work experience or their own personal experience where they've walked through my house with and seen the containment up, and not only were really impressed with the containment, but also impressed with how clean the house was left, like post remediation. Not dust everywhere, building material. Everything was very clean and tidy, which is super important for CIRS patients because it's not just mold that we're susceptible to, it's any type of biotoxin, which can come in the form of bacteria or just dust and allergens that, most people aren't affected by.
That's great. You said that brain fog was one of your symptoms.
Yeah.
Can you talk about how the symptoms of CIRS have impacted your life?
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna wrap it up.
Okay. It's kind of crazy to find out after a long health journey personally that, CIRS is a thing at all and that it impacts way more people than I think even know that CIRS exists. When I was 18, I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia, and I eventually went down, more holistic routes and changed my diet and exercise routine, and was really pretty much able to, what I felt like, put myself in remediation or not remission, put myself in remission. It wasn't really until after I had kids that I felt like I wasn't as well. And a lot of people will talk about mommy brain or just general brain fog when you have young kids. And I really, for a long time, felt like I was just tired for having 2 kids under 2. Now I have realized that there's probably way more of a CIRS impact on my inability to think clearly, speak as, eloquently as I used to, problem solve, not have like ADD tendencies that I was for so long chalking up to being a young mom. And I tell all my friends that, are struggling that, maybe there are other things to consider, that it's not just the season of life, because I don't think I would have stopped in my tracks if it weren't for my son being sick and eventually being diagnosed with PANS, that I wouldn't have taken a step back and realized that this is something that's impacting me and my quality of life too. So
That's good. One last question. Remediation company that came in?
I did, not to do like the full extent that Anthony did, but I had someone come in before that did a terrible job. Do you want me to talk about that?
Please.
Okay.
We're rolling.
Okay. There was, before I knew what I know today, I had my public adjuster who was helping me with this claim for the hurricane, really, that, at even the time I hired him, didn't realize the extensive mold damage that we had, recommended a remediation company to come out and take care of the window leak that I had in my dining room. And the water intrusion was actually from the tropical storm, and they came in and remediated the area, but didn't follow any IICRC S520 guidelines at all. They completely their containment was a joke. They left the space such a mess. They probably finished the job in under 3 hours. And then I had my inspector come back to do post-testing, which, was fine. But he called me hours later and was like, there's no way this is going to pass. Just so you know, it's they're going to have to come back and clean more. And the biggest mistake that I will, that I felt bared the brunt of was they didn't turn my AC unit off, and none of us left the house. So my son was already exhibiting sickness symptoms at the time, but all of his normal symptoms spiked incredibly high after that remediation. And obviously, my house as a whole was impacted. We had mold everywhere on every exterior wall. So it was in our HVAC system, but the main return was not sealed off and was right above the dining room where the remediation was taking place. So if there was, moderate to mild mold in the HVAC system before, it was exponentially worse after this remediation company came in and worked. And the only thing I can say is I'm grateful that that happened, because it was such a small, isolated area. If it hadn't happened then, I probably wouldn't have understood how to vet people properly and find CIRS restoration like I did, because I wouldn't have had that bad experience to realize that not everybody was truly trying to help me in the way I needed to be helped.
Fantastic.